Welcome back to the Tracy Take. I am Tyler here with my brother Ryan. Today we're breaking down the Dallas Cowboys 3-round mock draft. We did a full 3-round mock draft, all 100 picks, and these will be the Cowboys selection. But before we do that, we have a fun announcement. We have partnered up with BetUS to be one of their affiliate sponsors. So if you like, put a couple bucks down on the game that you're watching. Click that link down below. They have a fun promotion going on for you. It's 125% match for the first 3 deposits of all first-time players. So click that link down below to take a look at their website. They have a lot of fun games and options to go down and do. While you're at it, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and also ring that bell to get notified whenever we create new content. We're a couple hundred away from 3,000 subscribers. See if we can get there by early April, and then who knows, maybe April could be a lot of fun, and maybe we get to 4,000 by the end of the draft. So, Ryan, that being said, let's get into this here. Cowboys have done essentially nothing with this offseason so far. They did re-sign Eric Kendricks, replace Leighton Vander Esch, who has retired, unfortunately, for medical reasons. We wish him nothing but the best and get back to full health. But in general, though, Cowboys have pretty much stayed put, which, to be honest, I would say they have lost some pieces. We're going to get there in a second. But in general, the team was really good last year. It was probably one of the better Cowboys teams that I think I've seen that I can remember for a long time. Now, they have lost Tyron Smith, Tyler Badish, Tony Pollard, Biotish, badass. I like to say that. So, family-friendly show. My apologies. But I think those are probably going to be – well, and then losing some of the defensive players, like Jonathan Hankins and Doris Armstrong.
I was actually going to add one of the departures we should have in there is Dan Quinn, because he was the kind of the mastermind of that defense. And so I'm really curious to see how that defense – performs going forward without Dan Quinn pulling the strings.
Yeah, it's gonna be heavy Micah Parsons as well. So we do still have some other guys that are still unsigned free agents still. Just for example, like Stephon Gilmore, for example. Not saying that he won't be on the team there, but we haven't officially included some of those guys in departures as well. But it's just very unique to kind of see what's going on with Dallas. Another fun thing too that I just found out, I was reading through the news today, but what Dallas is going to do with Dak Prescott and all of the potential dead cap space that he has if they don't re-sign him at the end of this season or next season. I
think it's this season.
Yeah, it's this season. So it's going to be very unique. I just kind of go to see, I think it was like $95 million in cap space. So maybe they're preparing for that. Maybe they're trying to work something out because they know how much money they're going to pay Dak if they're going to want to continue with him. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. But it makes it very interesting for the draft here where I don't really know kind of what route that they're going to go. I think they're going to keep maybe going as best player available. So that's why if we go to the first overall pick here, we did have to go with Peyton Wilson, get some more speed in that linebacking room. Now with them signing Eric Kendricks, when we did this mock draft, they hadn't signed Eric Kendricks yet. But we want to keep everything consistent with all of the 100 picks. I still like Peyton Wilson here. It's still very possible. Maybe they want to get a little bit more speed on that middle layer of the defense right behind Micah Parsons as well. So great player.
I actually still like this pick. Eric Kendricks is 32, he's good, but with the loss of Leighton Vander Esch, they now are really down to nobody of significance in that linebacking room, in that middle linebacking room. And so I still like this pick. They need that versatility in that front seven. And then hopefully Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland can hold it down in the secondary. I'm not sure who's at safety for them right now, but to me, rounding out that linebacker room is probably the last thing on this defense that they really need to do. And I mean, then you have a really solid group of defenders there for any defensive coordinator to come in and deal with. So
yeah. Any defense with Micah Parsons, I think, should do okay. And then they also are too. I'm not sure if you just mentioned it or not, but then getting Trayvon Diggs back from his ACL injury, and so defense is still, like I said, still shaped up really well. Just with those two guys alone. So, but moving on to their second round pick. And so one of the unique things as well, they moving on from their center, Tyler Badish, and also as well with Tyron Smith moving on as well. Tyler Smith might even kick out to left tackle. He was playing left guard. Maybe they'll keep him at left guard. He's one of the best left guards in the league. But if they want to maybe just see him at left tackle because they know he can do that. That's what he did in college. Now either way, there's going to be an opening, but potentially 2 openings for an interior offensive line position here as well. So we have to go with Christian Haynes here out of UConn, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's him, Christian Haynes out of UConn, Christian Mahogany is
I
out
always get
of
him.
Boston College, and I get
Yeah,
them mixed up all the
I
time.
always get them mixed up as well. Those
So
New Englanders, those
I
Christian New
know.
Englanders. But have them going with the interior offensive line as well. You can never have too many interior offensive linemen, I would say. And then getting this guy here in the second round, I think this is a good overall value here, kind of for what the team is looking for.
Yeah, and I mean he's a really solid interior offensive lineman. It's funny, like the center and guard positions I feel like have been slightly devalued. I mean, I had John Michael Schmitz and Osiris Torrance as first round picks last year, and they both went in the middle of the second round as well. So we'll see how these guys are actually graded out by NFL teams and what their true value is come draft day. But I think Christian Haynes is more than worthy of a mid to late second round pick here by the Dallas Cowboys. So let's move on now to their final pick. This is going to be addressing that running back room. Jalen Wright, 6'2", 220, ran that 4.39 or 4.35 at the combine. Just an absolutely explosive athlete and a really big riser up a lot of people's draft boards. I think teams are going to be really high on him just watching him on tape because he does everything you would want. He's a good pass catcher. He's a really good runner. Clearly has the speed to get around the edge and beat defenders up the sideline. So I just really like what he does, and he has the size you want in a running back as well. And I think some team is going to fall in love with him and take him here pretty high. And I think in this situation, it was the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, so the Dallas Cowboys definitely right now they're starting running back Rico Dowdle. Deuce Vaughn is their backup running back,
Yeah.
and so I definitely believe that running back will be a position that they address. It just kind of depends on when they can, as a lot of people are saying now, you kind of get running backs in the 5th, 6th round. And shoot, as a Falcons fan, we did that with Tyler Algier, and he was a 1,000-yard rusher his rookie year. So naturally, then you get a running back with the 8th overall pick in the next year. But I digress. I still think that this is something that the Cowboys will go and address. And one spot too as well, an area that we hadn't addressed, but they possibly could address, like they had moved on from Michael Gallup as well. They did draft Jalen Tolbert in 2022, and then Jalen Brooks also in last year's draft, and they had the speedster as well. I thought they had another speedster, but I digress on that. But receiver could be another spot as well that they could end up addressing also. And so that's where I think with the Cowboys, it's just going to be with this team. I think it's just going to be best player available, like for every single pick all the way throughout the draft.
Yeah, and to me, I think that's kind of been their strategy in the past. And so, all in all, looking at this draft, I think that's what we just tried to emulate. And I like this class for them. They have, I think, more holes than people like to let on. And so I'm really interested to see kind of where they end up in the division and in the NFL next year, because I could see them potentially falling off a little bit. And if you follow this channel, you know how we feel about Mike McCarthy. So,
well, credit where credit's due. Last year, I know obviously
they had a great year last year.
They did it. Obviously, I think they just ran into a buzzsaw in Green Bay, in the wild card round. But I mean, they played well. Like I would say, they definitely were the best team in the NFC East overall. I think they got a lot of things clicking. I think they had some unfortunate injuries, and then they just ran into a Green Bay team that I think was probably, you can make an argument that Green Bay team was the best team in the NFL come January. If we're being honest, a couple plays go differently, they're in the Super Bowl. So and I think that they were going to beat the tar out of the Chiefs.
Well, the way they were playing, they would have.
The way they were playing, yeah. And so they literally just beat themselves. So I think they ran into a buzzsaw, the Packers, and that's where it's going to be unique on how do they replace some of these like kind of key pieces that have moved on in the offseason, and then with the lack of moves overall, but for financial reasons potentially. It's going to be how do they navigate this draft and try and make this team at minimum status quo. So, and I still think that they're pretty good. I still think they're going to be one of the formidable teams in the NFC next year.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up with that. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you thought of this Dallas Cowboys 3-round mock draft. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you do differently on that? We'll see you guys next time.